so much for joining us today. We are going to be talking about the teacher and staff middle of the year processes for 23-24. And if you would like to join the slides, we have put it in the chat, but you can also go to bit.ly/NCEES MOY for middle of year. And thank you for joining us. So I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Donna Curry, and I am the NCEES and OER product manager. You can see that I do have my email here listed. So if after today you have any questions about NCEES, please feel free to reach out, and I will be happy to help you with that. And Jennifer?
Hi, I'm Jennifer Bass, and I am the NCEES coordinator. So if you have any questions ever about the NCEES policy, I'm your person, but I do work very closely with Donna and have worked very closely with Cammie. So together we'll be able to answer any questions that you might have. So feel free to contact me at the bottom. My email address is right there.
And Cammie.
Cammie.
And she is muted. Cammie, you're
Cammie,
muted.
you're muted.
Okay, now you can hear me.
We can hear you now.
Thank you for letting me know. I am the former NCEES product manager. I am transitioning over to be assistant PowerSchool SIS product manager. So I will be assisting Donna as she takes on this role. She's awesome. You guys will be amazed. And Jennifer as well. So reach out to any of us at any time with any NCEES questions.
Okay. I am going to go ahead and cut my camera off just because that does help with bandwidth. Ladies, if y'all want to cut yours off, feel free to do so. But we'll cut them back on at the end just in case you want to see us, so you can do that. So today, our webinar outcomes. So we're hoping that by the time we're finished today, you know how to access the NCEES system. You know how to locate your plan help guide. You can review the teacher, or we're going to review the teacher evaluation process with you. We're going to review mid-year plans. We're going to review written responses, the PDP mid-year activities, and the professional development component that you can also find within NCEES. So we hope to have all of that. But anytime you have questions, please feel free to add them during the chat. You are muted right now. At the end, we will unmute you if you have a chance, if you need to ask any questions. But in the meantime, if you do need to ask any questions, you'll just click on the little chat icon and you can type that question. And hopefully somebody will help you along the way. So how do you access NCEES? So in order to access NCEES, you do have to go to NCEES. We do have the link up here. But the first time you do use NCEES, you do have to claim your account. But once you do get to the site, this is what you're going to see. You're going to need to enter your staff UID, which is that long number that you have. And then you're going to need to enter your password. The very first time you do access NCEES, you would have to claim your account. And that icon is here, and it will walk you through what you need to do. Once you do get into NCEES, you're going to look for this Unified Talent P, and that's where we house NCEES. So you will click there. So that is how you access our site. Once you do log in, you'll see that you do go to the NCEES landing page. If you've not paid attention to what's on this home screen, I know sometimes you're so fast to go to My Evaluations and just look at what is in My Evaluations, but there is a lot of valuable information on this screen that you might see. This is where we've been sharing our webinars. This is where we've been sharing what's new, but there's a lot of helpful information on this landing page that you can use. In addition, if you've never looked at the icons on the top, you can be sent emails through NCEES if your email is correct in NCEES. So you can have emails sent, you can have calendar options that are shown, so maybe your PD is linked to a calendar date. PowerSchool does have its own help site, but we recommend not using that unless you have general questions, because all of our help guides are located on the help guides tab. And we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. However, you can click on your initials, and this is where you can manage your profile. You can get a snapshot of your credits and your ratings, and this is where you can also log out. A lot of good information on this home screen if you've not looked at that before. In addition to, also look at the help guides tab. There are help guides in here for every plan type, whether it be comprehensive, standard, abbreviated. There are help guides to help you with your PDP. But there are guides here, and it's going to show you what you do, what your evaluator does. It's going to talk you through that process, show you those screenshots that you need. It's going to help you get those green checks so you can be finished with your plan type. So if you've not looked at the help guides, I definitely recommend finding whatever type plan you are currently on, and then go to help guides and look at those directions for you. Remember, your evaluator has theirs, and then you have yours. So you have the teacher guide, and then you have the guide for principals, or the guide for your evaluators. Once you do get into NCEES and you do click on that mid-year PDP option, your mid-year observation and PDP, you're going to see some things that we want you to pay attention to. You're going to see this eye, and if you see this eye and you hover over this eye, this is going to tell you what has not been complete in the container above or in the section above that has to be completed before you move on. So if you just hover over this, for this example, you'll see that you can't do formal observation number 2 because you haven't done the pre-observation conference or it'll tell you if there's an issue. There may be an issue in observation number 1.
Probably that, observation number 1 would probably be the issue there.
Yeah, sorry, I was going to say, so if there's something missing, this wouldn't affect it, allowing you to get in because it does not have that asterisk. Also, if you needed to email someone from the screen, you'll see that you do have this little email icon, so you can immediately email from the screen, so you wouldn't have to leave the site to go somewhere.
Hey, Donna, your sound is going in and out, and you're out right now.
Okay. Give me just a second.
Okay, now you're back. You're back.
I don't know. So I'm fine now?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Well, Jennifer, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you. We're going to talk a little bit about the teacher evaluation process itself and what happens in the mid-year. To begin, the Department of Public Instruction stands very firmly that the educator evaluation is all about growth and improvement of teacher practices. So often the evaluation process is viewed as a gotcha or they're trying to get rid of me, but that is not the purpose of the teacher evaluation system at all. It clearly states the intended purpose of the North Carolina teacher evaluation process is to assess the teacher's performance in relation to the North Carolina professional teaching standards and to design a plan for their professional growth. It doesn't say for those doing poorly. It says growth for every teacher is our goal. So let's just keep that in mind as we are working through our evaluation system throughout the year. All right, this is a one-page visual that can be found on our NCEES site, and you can also find it on page 21 of the Teacher Evaluation Process Manual. In our webinar today, because it is approaching mid-year, we're going to focus on the bottom part of this one-page visual, step number 3, which is the observation cycle, and it's found in the lower right corner. We're going to take a closer look at that. All right, in red, you can see step 3 is the observation cycle that includes observations and post-observations. So looking at component 5, we get lots of questions about this, so I always like to go over it again to make sure everybody understands. An observation is when the evaluator checks the descriptors on the rubric while they are observing or watching a lesson in a classroom. There are 2 types of observations. There's a formal and an informal. Formal observations must last at least 45 minutes or they can last the entire class period. An informal observation should last a minimum of 20 minutes. A post-conference is not required for these, but they can be requested by the teacher. Teachers with less than 3 years of employment will be placed on a comprehensive evaluation cycle. This cycle consists of 3 formal observations from the principal or their designee, and there will be 1 formal observation from a peer. Teachers who have more than 3 years of employment will be placed on a standard or an abbreviated evaluation cycle. The standard cycle requires 3 observations, and 1 of those must be formal, which means 45 minutes. The abbreviated cycle includes 2 observations on standards 1 and 4. And these abbreviated observations may be formal or informal. Now, with regards to our support staff evaluation, even though their process does mimic that of the teacher observation, support staff do not have the option of an abbreviated observation cycle. So for all support staff with more than 3 years of employment, they will be assigned to a standard evaluation cycle. So they do not have the option of an abbreviated. We do get that question a lot. All right, on this page, these are the minimum requirements for the North Carolina evaluation process. And you just take a look at those, what's required for each evaluation cycle. Up at the top, we have given you the link to the comparison chart and the minimum evaluation process requirement charts. So they are there for you if you'd like to take a look at them. But it pretty much just shows you what I just went over. Okay, let's talk a little bit about observations. Observations, think about how you formally assess your children in your classrooms as you're teaching. Observations are a series of formative assessments of the teachers. So consider a year-long process where you're collecting formative assessments through observation. And so your principal is collecting data using the rubric year-long and collecting formative feedback for the teacher themselves. Now, the misconception is that teachers are evaluated and rated many times throughout the year. And this has kind of bogged down our focus of growth, which is not intended, it's intended. We are trying to help teachers to grow. So everyone is evaluated annually at the end of the school year, and that is when ratings are actually assigned for each standard. So remember, each observation is just one collection of data point to inform the evaluation at the end of the year. Keep in mind, if you have additional information, data, or evidences that you would like to share with your administrator that they may not have seen during your observation, please share these at the post-conference or at your summative conference, because in that 45-minute block, they may not have seen everything that you would like to share with them. So now we're going to look at component 6. As a result of the observation, we now have an post-observation conference. The principal conducts the post-observation conference no later than 10 school days after each formal observation. The purpose of this post-observation conference is to discuss and document the strengths and weaknesses that were noted on the rubric during the observation. So let's go back to the slide when I emphasize the purpose of the evaluation is all about growth and improvement for teachers. The post-observation conference is the heart of what we're looking to accomplish, growth for our teachers. The post-observation conference should focus on the evidence that was gathered during the observation and what was shared in the post-conference by the teacher. Teachers should have opportunities to reflect on the observation as it relates to the rubric itself. Observers should focus on providing relevant feedback on the marked descriptors and how to grow forward for improved practices. The language of the rubric should always be used to ensure that we have an accurate interpretation of the standards themselves. Now, down at the bottom of this slide, we have a webinar if you are interested in going back and listening to that. It's called Understanding the Teacher Rubric. We have the recording and the presentation, and that's a great opportunity to better understand the rubric and the language itself. So please take advantage of listening to that. Now on the screen, we have a document that's called Questions for Post-Observation Conferences and Summative Evaluations. It's linked here, but you can also find it on the site, the NCEES site. This is a questions document that was created to provide questions for teachers as they're reflecting on the language of the rubric. These questions are organized by the standards and elements, and this is a tool to help create a common understanding of the standards and the elements and the language found within them. And also so teachers get a better understanding of what information is going to be collected during the observation itself. This is a great resource to have and to be ready to have that discussion with your principal at your post-conference.
All right.
It's all right. Now, the meeting between the teacher and the observer does provide an opportunity to strengthen that communication, and it results in a plan for continuous improvement for the teacher's practice. During the post-observation, the principal and teacher should be discussing and documenting on the rubric all the strengths and weaknesses of the teacher's performance during that observed lesson. The post-observation conference should never include a discussion of ratings because that only happens at the end of the year. So we want to focus on the language of the rubric and the descriptors, not ratings during the school year because we're collecting formative data. The post-observations conferences, yet again, should be linked back to the descriptors, not the rating category itself. And no one observation should fully inform the teacher's rating at the end of the year. And I just wanted to point out to you, beside the rating categories, look beside developing. We're going to focus on the word that you see beside the ratings themselves, the knowledge, the action, the interaction, and the extension. Those are the things that we're going to be focusing on as we have those conversations. So I'm going to turn it back over to Donna, and she's going to talk to you about opening the evaluation plan itself.
Okay, is my microphone better now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank y'all for letting me know about that. So in order to open your evaluation plan from the NCEES home screen, you're going to click on My Evaluations, and then you're going to make sure that you are in your current evaluation and have a blue line above it. Then you're going to click on the title, and that will actually open that evaluation. Once you are in your evaluation, you're going to see some little, what we call the flowers, and these are going to explain the process for each. If you see something that is gray, that means it has not started yet at all. If you see something that is 3/4 blue, that means it is in progress. If you see something that is orange with the check, that means it's almost finished, or it may have been reopened. So there's just a little bit left to get that complete, but at this time it is still incomplete. But what our goal is we want to get those little green circles with the green check. That means that that is complete and finished. So as you're navigating the system, that is what these colored little circles do mean. And I'm going to let Jennifer talk about completing your MOI activities.
Thank you, Donna. Okay, this chart that's on your screen shows which observation containers must be locked by the end of the year to be able to open the summative container itself. But as you can see from the activities within the red box, observations number 1 and 2 should be completed by mid-year for all teachers on all plan types. If you are a late hire, you should ultimately have 1 observation completed by MOY or close to it, depending on when you were hired. But we do want to have at least 1, that first observation done for late hires, and observation 1 and 2 complete for everyone else on all other plan types. Now, when you're completing your observation, there's some back and forth within the system. So the principal has some jobs and the teacher has some jobs. So after the observation, the principal will have the pre-observation conference with the teacher. The teacher will then acknowledge that within the system. Then it bounces back to the principal, who is going to complete the formal or informal observation, and then complete the post-observation conference with the teacher. Then it's going to go back to the teacher for the post-observation acknowledgement. And if they feel like they want to add a written response, they can do that at this time. If a written response is submitted, it will go back to the principal where they have to acknowledge that. When everything is completed, the principal will lock the observation activity and the observation cycle will be finished and complete. So watch for the asterisks. These are the required things for each observation cycle.
So once you are in, I had already shown you how to click on your current observation. Hopefully at this point in the year, you already have a couple green checks. Hopefully you have a green check for your training and orientation, and then you have a green check for observation number 1. And then you're going to click in your observation number 2 container, and that is where you are going to get started with that process. So in order, talking about the plan types and what is required of each, remember we always talk about the asterisks as being required. You'll notice there's no asterisks beside the late hire plan because that is at this point in time, they're trying to finish that observation number 1 because they are just getting started. But you'll notice here that you have the formal observation number 2, the post-observation conference, the evaluator acknowledgement, your teacher acknowledgement, and then those activities do have to be logged. While there are other things that can be added, those other things are not required. So that'll let you know what is required in each plan type. And after all of these areas with asterisks have been completed, then this can be logged. When you are in that container and you've accessed that container, remember looking for those asterisks again. This is just going to kind of show you what you would see if you were in a comprehensive cycle. You'll see here that the formal observation is required, the post-observation is required, that teacher acknowledgement is required. You can see here that beside pre-observation conferences, they are not required for this plan type. So you can see that option here. After you have met and you have gone over this with your evaluator, then there is the option for you to acknowledge. We are aware that when you acknowledge, it does not mean you approve or that you approve what was written in that evaluation. It just simply says that you acknowledge that that information has been shared with you, and that is the process that we follow according to the North Carolina State Board of Education. So you can go ahead and acknowledge that. If for some reason you want to add something after this next slide will talk about the written response option that you can give. You can click edit for your written response. It'll allow you a little text editor where you can type some information. You can attach a file here. You can also attach an artifact here as well. And then once you're finished with that, you've added your information, you can mark that complete. And then your evaluator will get evidence of this. So like I said, acknowledging that your evaluation was done and that was shared with you does not mean that you agree. So if you have any issues with that, you can go ahead and acknowledge and then share those issues here. Any questions about that part so far? Cami, Jennifer, do we have any questions that have come in?
Not right now, we don't.
Okay,
If you do have any questions, please put them in the chat and we'll stop at the end and answer anything that you have questions about. Now, we're going to move on and talk a little bit about the professional development plans, because as you know, they have to be revisited beginning, middle, and end. So this is middle of the year, and we need to just touch on those and what's required. So as you know, there are 3 different types of professional development plans. There's an individual plan, a monitored plan, and a directed plan. These plans do serve as the roadmap for teacher growth that I keep harping on. They can include individual goals, school goals, or district goals. But we do encourage you to align your goals with your school improvement plan, because this helps for you to stay on target in helping your school to accomplish the goals that they have set. And it also, we encourage you to review your teacher effectiveness data when you're creating these plans. So looking at the professional development plans with the different types, I've gone over this at the beginning, but I do want to just do a quick review. The individual plan is for new teachers and teachers who are rated at least proficient on all of their standards. The monitored plan is for teachers who have rated developing on 1 or more standards. And the directed PDP is given to teachers who have rated not demonstrated on any standard, or they have scored developing on 1 or more standard on their summary rating form for 2 sequential years. We do ask that you meet with your principal and review your PDP plan beginning, middle, and end. If you are on a monitored or directed, you may meet with your principal a little more often just to kind of go over your goals and your progress towards those goals. Okay, so if you have any questions about that, let me know. But I did want you to know that we review them in the middle of the year. So this is the cycle that actually happens. First, go ahead. There you go. The teacher will put in the PDP details into the system. Then the principal will review and sign off. And then if you are assigned a mentor because you're a BT teacher, your PDP has to be signed by your mentor. If you do not have a mentor, that is not going to be required. But if you do have a mentor and you don't get that mentor to sign before it's locked, you're going to have to go back and have it reopened. So make sure you get all the signatures that you need. After the mentor signs, it'll go back to the teacher and the teacher will sign off. And then the principal will get it to lock it if all the signatures have been gotten and all the PDP details have been gone over and they approve. So then at that point, we will lock it.
So let's talk about how do you open your PDP. We talked about those help guides that you do have that you can refer to. Remember, they're in NCEES on the help guides tab. So if you need help managing your PDP or need to know what to do, we do have those. We have them linked here as well. Once you are in your evaluations, you will see that you have a section or a container that's called Professional Development Plans. Click on that word in blue and that will open that plan for you. Once again, you're going to look before. If you do not have any green checks up here, you're not going to be able to work in this mid-year container. So hopefully you have your green check for your self-assessment. You have your green check for your PDP initial review, and we are now at that mid-year review. It's going to tell you that once you click, there are 4 items in this container that you're going to have to do in order to get that green check for this section. So once you do open that container, you're going to see anything with an asterisk is required. You're going to see that you're going to do the PDP mid-year review. You're going to click here. Once you click here, you can click new. You can update your goals from the beginning of the year. You can add new goals if you need to. You would probably want to talk to your administrator about what type goals you do need here. After that has been done and has been reviewed, your evaluator would sign off on that. You'll notice that for the mentor section, as Jennifer just shared, if you have one, you would have them sign, but this section does not have the asterisk because not all plan types require this. But if you need one, make sure you do have one done before you sign off and before this is locked. So help your administrator with that process. If you know you have a mentor, you would want to work with your mentor to have this signed before you signed off and before this was locked. And paying attention once again to all of these asterisks, making sure that you do complete those. This is just a kind of a zoom in of that PDP help guide, just to let you know whenever you see the word do and view, the do are things that you have to do, and view would be something that your administrator is doing that you would look at. But it's just going to tell you step by step what you're going to do. You're going to click, remember, open that container. You're going to click that mid-year review. You're going to click that word new. You're going to enter that evidence that you are progressing towards those goals. If you had to include student growth, you would include that. If you need to attach any files, you can do that and click save. You can, like I said, add any new goals if you need to. And then you can save and done. But we do have that link once again on the NCEES help guide screen if you need to see that. Once you are also in your PDP, you'll see that you do have that PDP record of activity. You do have the option in this drop down. You can print out your PDP initial review, your PDP mid-year review. At the end of the year, you'll be able to print out this end of year, and you can also have your record of activities. It's going to give you the option to print. You'll also notice that you do have this teacher background section. Sometimes administrators will say if there was a change of PDP type, so maybe you went from a monitor plan to a directed or individual plan, whatever plan type you are, they may note that there was a change there. If there's a leave of absence, maybe you have to leave, that can also be added here as well. So a lot of times administrators will add additional information here to your teacher background. Let's also look at the professional development that you can find in NCEES. So we do have links, some professional development opportunities for you. So if you would like to learn more, there is like a one-pager here where it's going to tell you how to access the system, a little quick video on Finding PD. I just want to point out some that we already have linked for you. So if you want to look for active courses that are in NCEES, in addition to looking within the professional development tab, if you click on this icon, you'll see that we have updated the courses that are in NCEES. So this is a description of what's here. So on tab number 2, you can see that it's broken down by course number, course title, learning opportunity type, how it's provided, and our courses are provided through Canvas. And then you can see if they're literacy, academic subject area, general, leadership, DLCs, and there's a quick description. If you want to look at all courses, that's tab 2, or then you can break it down and look at the individual courses as well. So these are all self-paced learning opportunities that you can complete on your time. So if you need credits, that's a great place to look. In addition to that, you'll see that we also have linked some courses that are offered through North Carolina Virtual Public Schools. So that is linked here as well. So you'll notice there's a lot of links on this page. But once you get in here to look at this, you'll see some of these same courses I just shared on that previous slide. But you can look here and you can see that this course is a general credit, but this course is also a digital learning competency. So if you take this course, your certificate would say at the end general, but you could follow your district's plans and say it says it could be digital learning, and maybe have the options for them to change it from general to something else. And then you have the proof here that you can show them the description of the course. So North Carolina Virtual Public Schools does a good job of telling what plan types this could be, but your district is the authority on what plan type they would award you. You would probably want to check with them before you took any professional development. So you can see that we have some information linked on this tab. We also have some information linked here as well. So if you need to get CEs this year, or at least go ahead and get started, so that is not something that is all at one time, that is a great place for you to refer to. Also, I had mentioned that when you're in that professional development tab, we have some others listed. Once you click on professional development, you can look by standards, you can go by focus area. Once you click on, yours would be teacher, so you can click that teacher, you can expand those elements. If you find something you like, you will click on the word available. Do not look on the word explore, look on the word available. If you find something that you like, you can go ahead and click enroll. But if it's something you're just browsing, then you can click on this little pin and you can pin this to look at later, and that will appear in your My Courses list under pinned PD, and then you can look at it later. So if you want to just kind of do a quick glance, find some things that might be of interest to you, you can pin them, and then you can unpin them later. It's just click that little pin, and then you can unpin it to go away. But that is when you are in the professional development tab. There's multiple ways to search. Once you were in there, you can search by keywords. If you have the course number,
Oh, we lost you, Donna.
oh, can you not?
Came back for a second and you went out again.
Okay, is that better?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know. Maybe my computer just needed to shut down today. Who knows? Okay, did y'all hear what I talked about with the PD and the pinning and?
The pinning we did, yes.
Okay, just making sure. Thank you. So when you are actually in your observations and you are looking at those rubrics, there is a tiny little light bulb that you'll see once you are in those plan types. So if you find out that after your observation that maybe you need to focus on a certain area, maybe you didn't perform as well as you would have liked, and you are working on those indicators and maybe doing better on your next observation, click on that light bulb. And that is your little light bulb moment. And once you click on that light bulb, it's going to take you to a list of courses that course creators have tagged to that standard. Once you click on that icon, like I said, a list of classes will come up. Check the one that you're interested in, and then you can register for your courses when they are observing you as well, or during that meeting. And if they wanted to add you, they have to make sure it's choose from recommended or required, and then they can tell you they would make sure that it appears on your channel, and then they can register you for that if they needed to. But pay attention to those light bulbs, maybe in those standards that you just need a little bit more practice in before it does become the end of the year. And there's some more information here about how to choose those light bulbs. Once again, those help guides that you'll see, they are found in NCEES, and that would be found on your professional development page. I'm going to turn this back over to Jennifer.
All right. As we're coming to the end, we wanted to share some very important resources with you so that you can go out and find things on your own. The first one is our NCEES resource site. If by any chance you have the old site pinned, which was a Google site, we have switched over to our new site, and the bit.ly is here. Bookmark that, because this is where you're going to find a lot of the resources and information that we've been sharing today. As you can see, we have the tabs for the teacher, the principal, support staff, central office, and superintendent. All the evaluation information for each one of those is there. All the policies, all of the manuals, everything that you could possibly need resources can all be found there. And at the bottom of this, we also have some other resources that are available, such as all of the webinars that we have offered in the past. The recordings and the presentations are there, as well as like information on super observations, information on the orientation process at the beginning of year for NCEES. So if you get a second, take some time and go in and check out the resources that we have available there for you.
If we have any NCEES admins in this session, this is another resource for you. So if you would like to join this is from the blue canvas within the NC Cloud. You would click on the blue canvas, and then on the far left, scroll all the way down to home-based resources, and then you would choose NCEES, and you could enroll in the NCEES admin hub. There's a few, there's some resources that I guess anyone can use, but mainly if you are not an admin, this might not be quite as beneficial to you, but that is an option for you as well. And there's steps to tell you how to get there, and there's modules for beginning of the year, middle of year, end of year. So if you are NCEES admin, that is something that you can look at. If you would like to join us for any webinars in the future, you can see who these webinars are geared to. We've already put the November ones in here. We will have one on November 9th that is geared toward NCEES district administrators, site administrators, and principals, and that is for reports, staff evaluations, dashboards. And then on November 21st, we will be doing ad hoc reporting and exporting those reports, and that is geared towards NCEES district administrators. If you would like to see the webinars we are offering the rest of the year, any of the past webinars where we already have the presentation links and the recording link as well, this is linked up here at the top of the page, and you're welcome to go look at those. In a couple weeks or within a week, hopefully we'll have this presentation or this video linked here as well. So right this second, unless there's any questions at this point, are there any questions in the chat, ladies?
No, not
Okay.
now.
So we're going to go ahead and kind of follow along. So one thing that DPI does is it does divide the state into regions. So in order to complete our feedback form, you will need to know your region. So if you just want to take a quick look at our North Carolina map, find your county and look at what district or region it's in. So you can see like the Northeast district is District 1, Southeast is District 2. So you can just pay attention to those districts because you will need that for our feedback form. So you can look at that map. And then once you click on this feedback form, or you can scan this with your phone, you can answer questions. We always do try to get better every time we present. But if you would like a certificate for joining us today, you will need to enter in your name as you would like for you to see it on your certificate and your email address. As soon as you complete the feedback form within a couple minutes, this will go back directly into your inbox, and your certificate will be part of your email. It'll look very similar to this. So if you would like to complete that feedback form, this session was about an hour, so you would get 0.1 general CEUs, and you would turn that into your district, and it's however your district decides to award CEU credit. And if you have not looked at our YouTube playlist, there is a great playlist that goes back for a few years that you can look at in YouTube. So we have linked the NCEES YouTube playlist. We have up through the NCEES Did You Know session up there from this year, and we'll be adding last week's session, and this week's session will be there as well. So if you've not looked at that, we have that link for you. Also, if you don't know who your contacts are to your NCEES support within your district, you always go to your administrators first. But then if you need additional support, then we have this link here who your NCEES leads are for your district. And this is just your contact at DPI that you can get in touch with. If there's an issue with NCEES, there is a designated person in your district who can submit a ServiceNow ticket. So if you have issues, there is like protocol in place where you would reach out to your administrator would reach out to their NCEES lead, and then the NCEES lead would know who would do the ServiceNow ticket. But if there's issues that cannot be resolved, then that is an option that you can have done. So I'm going to allow you, I'm going to unmute, and if anybody has any questions, or feel free to find these meeting options. I will allow you to unmute if you would like to ask those questions. You can do that. But thank you so much for joining us today. We are so happy to have you, and hopefully this will help you in your program, in your quest through NCEES.
you.